One of the things that really struck me, I'd thought about it, but not as carefully as until I read one of your speeches, or a couple, is the tragedy of having lost the larger superannuation objective under the Howard government. Just those who haven't thought about this, one of the great social wage reforms was compulsory superannuation at 9%, but it was always to go to 15%. To give a decent life to those in the future. Could you say something about that?
Yeah,
what do you think?
sure.
Why was that abandoned? The larger hope.
Yeah. Well, you know, one of my friends abroad is Marty Feldstein, is professor of economics at Harvard. He's the chairman of the National Bureau of Economic Research in America, and he was chairman of the Council of Economic Advisors to President Reagan. Right, so this is no lefty, right? This is no lefty. And he said, Paul, you've got the strangest Conservative Party in the world. And I said, why do you think? He said, well, you at least expect Conservative parties to believe in thrift. When a Labor government comes along, imagine, he said, in America, the Democratic Party coming along and getting the organised workforce to agree to put 15% of their income away as savings, you would kiss them for it, you know? He said, but I could never understand that John Howard and that Peter Costello, you know, cutting your scheme in half. And that's what they did. You see, in the last budget I presided over, Ralph Willis's budget, 1995, under the Accord Mark 8, which I did with Bill Kelty and the ACTU, we had the SGC running up to 9 in single point steps to 2001. And then what we were going to do was pay income tax cuts as savings, not cash. So in 97-8, 98-9 and 99-2000, we do 1-1-1. But this came conditional with what we called the co-payment. The unions agreed that they would match the government 1% with one of their own. In other words, the next wage round they'd have, the employers would hold back 1% and pay it into their super account, right? So we had 1 and 1, 2, 1 and 1 again, 4, 1 and 1 again, 6. 6 on the 9 became 15. Yeah. Now, in the 96 election, the media pressed John Howard about this subject, and he said he would maintain the commitment of the Keating government to superannuation. Of course, they broke it in their first budget. Yeah. Broke it in the first budget. And then Costello had this rinky-dink scheme where their people's savings deposits would get some tax concessionality, and that lasted 9 months and they took it away. So what they did, they cost the average working family, working person, $300,000 in the accumulation over their lifetime. So you see, the current scheme at 9%, if you join the workforce at 22 and you go through to say 55 or 60, and your fund earns about 6.5% a year, you get to the phrase is a replacement rate. A rate of income in retirement replacing your income, but it's about 40 to 45% of your current income. This is not enough. Whereas at 15%, we were more or less at 90 or 100. So you would go into retirement fundamentally not needing the age pension. You know, the thing would carry you through. And we had a wrinkle in there where if you took an annuity, in other words, you took a cash payment, you gave your lump to a provider of annuities and they gave you a monthly wage, we relieved the tax for you. Costello took this away in 2006, so now people can take their lump sum, spend the money and then line up for the pension.